Are you ready?
Starting now?
Well, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
But
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And I am coming from Wisconsin.
Barely.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say way up north, because literally, I can look out the window and I was gonna say I'm on spitting distance, but I can see Michigan from here. So
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Youpers.
yeah, exactly. So I did a little bit of running around, and I know I posted some pictures and stuff like that. I'll talk about a couple of things. This place has been cool so far. No real problems. Just a couple of things I think that might make you laugh at me a little bit when I tell you about them. But just kind of fun stuff. But yeah, all in all, I mean, it's been nice up here. The weather though has been shit. It was like fucking 48 degrees.
Well, yeah,
this morning.
you're fucking Arctic Circle up there, man.
I know. Yeah, that's the first thing I'm thinking. I'm like, first of all, driving around just real quick. I mean, up some of these hills and stuff like that, especially when I went over, a couple of things in Michigan, I'm like, man, this place has got to be a fucking bitch in the wintertime. It's just got to be terrible,
Yeah.
And then same thing with the weather. The weather was beautiful over the weekend, and then it was fine. It's fine during the day. It rained a couple of days, so. But yeah, I mean, it's already. I mean, it's fucking July, and it was in the goddamn 40s last night. So yeah. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to live here. Don't have to live here. I can just visit for a few weeks and I'm good.
All right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's a Thursday. We'll get into why. We think we're doing Thursday next week too, because we got another note I made on here, but I'll talk about it in a minute. But yeah, once again, nobody knows a goddamn difference, but there's a reason for it. And the cool part is, I'll say it again. We just like we don't miss our readings, we don't miss the shit we have to do to get sober. This is one of those things, and we don't miss a fucking episode. So there.
Mm-hmm. So there. Even when we don't want to do it, here we are.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell you, same thing we always talk about these Thursday nights. During the week, it's fucking weird to record. It's just logistically and all that stuff, and figuring out both of our. Well, not that my schedule changes, but yours could. And then, I mean, it gets late by the time we're done. But you know what? What are we willing to do? I guess, right?
Exactly.
So on that note, though, Mike, are you willing to do a reading tonight?
Thankfully, my feelings don't have a goddamn thing to do with it. So, yeah, apparently I'm going to do a reading now.
Awesome. You know what? Who said that? I think Gary said he likes the reading. There's been a couple of people. I think people get to the point where I like it, but I think other people actually probably look forward to it. So
right. Well, clearly it's not us, so it's got to be better than the rest of the shit. So, all right.
Exactly.
This was actually from this week. This was yesterday, if you're keeping track. July 24th. That's from God Grant Me, as usual. Let's see here. I have lost my favorite teacup. I can have lost my teacup and be miserable. I can have lost my teacup and be all right. Either way, my teacup is gone. It's a Chinese proverb. It does little good to look back with sadness or shame about the past. One of the promises of recovery is that we shall neither regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We are to admit and accept. We work to stay in the moment, for in this moment we can work for our future. If we stay sober in this moment, we increase our chances of being sober in the future. In recovery, we use our energies and our attitudes to live in the present. We are to be willing to let the past be the past and just focus on today. Remember this: it is only in this moment that we have choice and influence. It is in this moment where we choose to act to end our isolation or increase our isolation from family, friends, values, and our higher power. And once this moment is gone, we must let it be gone. Prayer for the day. Higher power, I can only connect with you in each moment. Help me to have the courage to live in the present and not hide in the past or the future. Today's action, those pesky, pesky actions. Today, I will work to develop my skills in living in the moment. I will use awareness and attitude to stay in the present and pull myself back into the moment.
That was all about the present and the moment, which we talk
It
about quite a
was.
bit.
Uh
So,
huh.
so yeah, I mean, maybe let's start with that last paragraph, because the entire reading, I think the first part is always kind of funny when I read that. I mean, it doesn't matter; you could talk about anything, but yeah, the whole point is that whether you like it or not, or however you deal with it, your fucking teacup is gone.
That's right.
So it makes me laugh every time I read it. But so that the last part of it, the action part of it, talks about what, pulling yourself into the moment or staying in the moment, right?
All right.
So I mean, I know that, and we talk about it a lot. I would say one of our mantras, one of our
Yeah.
habits, one of our things,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, about being in the moment, living in the moment, being present, all those sort of things. But so what do you do if you, I don't know, if you feel like you're getting drawn out of that? How do you pull yourself back into the moment?
Hmm. Um. I mean, no, I'm really trying to think about it because I mean, I don't really, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the past much. I mean, I'm human like everybody else. I remember things and oh, that time was good. I tend not to focus on the shit times from before. I will look back on fond memories of the past. But I don't dwell on it. I don't, and I sure as hell don't sit here and worry about the future. I just don't anymore. My life is pretty much living in the moment, living in the present. That's what I do. I don't know, I find it easier. Quite frankly, and being a good alcoholic, I'm always looking for the easier, softer way, and and yeah, and really kind of being in the present is, even when it's shit, it's like, I'm also aware that, this moment is going to only last a moment. So when it is kind of shitty, it's like, okay, well, let's get through it, and it'll be better or it'll be worse, but then it'll change again because that's what it fucking does, man. Um, yeah. So to pull myself back in, I don't know. I don't really let myself get out of it a whole hell of a lot. Um, I mean, I'll kind of, I guess, again, human, like everybody else, I'll worry about something that's going to be coming up, or I'll look forward to something that's coming up. Um, but I don't spend a lot of time on the past or the present. I just kind of be, and I and I don't know um how I got to this point. I mean, other than, following direction and just having it rammed into our heads over and over again. This is where we have to live because this is where we are. It's kind of acceptance, that this is it, man. I accept the fact
Right.
that this is where I'm at. This is what it is, and yeah, and so I don't really kind of stray from that a whole hell of a lot. I mean, I certainly did before. I would be worried about the future, and I would regret the past, and medicate myself. That was kind of the best way to handle that. But by doing that, I'd miss lots and lots of moments I've missed in my life. Again, that regret shit that I don't play with much. But yeah, I've missed all kinds of moments. And I try not to today because I don't want to miss. I have a hell of a lot left. So I'm going to try to enjoy what I have. And yeah, again, to answer your question after all that rambling is I really don't have to because I don't stray very far from the moment anymore.
Right. Well, and what it made me think of when you were saying all that was that, and I was trying to think. I've got like a mild example, just from a work standpoint over the last probably week or so. Well, especially today and like yesterday. But I think that kind of what I was getting from it, what it made me think about was just that living and being and in doing, what's here and now in the moment in
Mm-hmm.
front of us has become habit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's become it done become it's become, just commonplace for us
Yeah, a way of
to
life.
focus. Yeah, for us to just focus on it because we were taught that, and now we get a couple of years behind us and things like that, and
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact because you're right. It's so much, and I think that's important to repeat is it is so much easier to just be where we
Mm-hmm.
are now
Right.
versus any other place. Like you said, fond memories or thinking back or whatever the case is. Every once in a while, that I think that regret tries to pull us back in, but it's like, fuck it,
Mm-hmm.
we can't change it,
Right.
or the future, we start, as they, the kids say, future tripping over shit. Again, everything else tries to pull us into it, but we kind of stay here. And the work example was, and I think I mentioned last week, maybe even the week before, it's been a slow month, for
Right.
everyone. I see everyone is a little bit behind in where they are, and I had a higher goal this month. I'm not giving up. I hate to say that I'm not going to hit the goal that he set for me, but
Mm-hmm.
man, there would have to be a lot of things would have to fall into place for it to do that. So I've kind of lowered my expectation of where I really need to be, and I say
Mm-hmm.
need based on what I want to make money wise and that sort of thing. But what that's done for me is that it's taken me to that future point, that worry point that's like, okay, my commission and what am I going to do and where am I going to go? I'm not going to go broke or anything like that, but
Right.
like this extra money gives me a chance to continue to do what, and I say extra, quote unquote,
Uh-huh.
but all those things. And I thought about it, I'm like, okay, so I know where I got to be, I know what I got to do, and all I can do, what I kept telling myself, what and bringing myself back into the moment was, all I can do is keep my head on my ass. I can't get down on myself. I can't fucking give up on what I'm trying to do,
Right.
and I just need to keep. Same thing as we do with the sobriety thing. I one foot in front of the other, keep moving
Yeah.
forward, keep doing those things. And whatever, I can't change, I can't make people pay. I can't make people act the way that I want them to act in
Mm-hmm.
real life. I can't make people act the way I want in my work life either. So
Right.
I need to resolve myself to the fact that I think I'm going to hit a certain point that should be okay. Maybe I'll miss my goal, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But and that's the I don't want to say I wrestle with it, but I recognize the cool part is that I recognize if, although it's not often, if I do get pulled in either direction,
Right.
thankfully I recognize it these days. That's a
Mm-hmm.
gift. That's a
Yeah,
gift.
absolutely. Yeah, and you recognize it and you go, "Well, this is fucking useless. Why am I?"
Right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm fucking. There's nothing I could do, man. My teacup is fucking gone.
Yeah, because I mean, really, what I'm worried about, and what if I allow myself to do it, what I'm worried about is, 5 p.m. next Wednesday, because that's the end of the month, you
Right.
know, and like we always say, joke about, or maybe who it's reality at this age. Who knows if I'm going to live until 5 p.m.
Yeah.
next Wednesday?
No shit.
So we say that jokingly, but it is, it's fucking all we have is right now, and it just
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I could get a ton of big payments. Fucking miracles can happen, and
Yeah.
the seas could cross and the skies can open up. Whatever the fuck, I don't know. So yeah, I just got to keep doing what I'm doing. But yeah, the whole point of and things that I wrote down obviously live in the moment, focus on today. We talked about
Mm-hmm.
look back with sadness or shame that inadvertently we just talked about, even though I not inadvertently, but we just talked
Right.
about that. So I wrote down admit and accept, and
Mm-hmm.
that was from the beginning, and I think that was about like the teacup being gone. Whatever happens happens. Kind of it is what it is would be the admit and accept, right?
Right. Yes. Yes, exactly. And there's what the hell is it now? Your energy, attitude, presence. Damn, choose to act in isolation. Oh hell, no, I'm not going to get it. It's in here somewhere. Right, but admit and accept. When we work in our future. Damn it. Something about the consequences or something. Recovery. We got the past. Shut the door on it. Shit. I should go. I should go back and listen to this podcast.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Go back. You want me to rewind? No, I can't do it.
Right.
But so yeah, you're looking for something in there that said consequences with the actions
I
or
mean,
lack
I
of.
thought so. Yeah, like admitting and shit. All right. Well, that's a shame. Except we're I'm trying to read the whole fucking thing.
That's okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I'll talk about one more thing because the other thing that I wrote down was ending isolation, and it talked about choosing, to our basically us choosing to certain things, but also I just wrote down the fact of ending isolation because, I mean, I think that with all of this, I don't know that the same thing, getting trapped in the future or the past or the good or the bad or the perceived good and bad of things. And like you said, we used to get loaded to do it. We did it when isolating, and we could still do it today. Figure,
mhm.
I'm worried about what's going to happen. Next Wednesday at 5 p.m. So fuck it. I'm just going to sit and I'm going to dwell and I'm going to wallow.
Mhm.
Which what the fuck good does that do? Even if I'm not drinking, that's alcoholic behavior, right?
No, absolutely. Right. Yeah. And again, what the hell's the point? Right.
Right, right.
Sit there and be fucking miserable over shit you can't control. Okay, that sounds like fun.
Right, right. And you know what? Every once in a while, it just I let out like a fuck or a fuck me or
Oh yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
like it'll work out, but I'm like fuck, and then I'm like blah blah blah. I'm like just keep doing the same. And my 10 step, over the last couple of weeks has been pretty much the same. The whole how was my day thing, which I do all the time, and I'm like okay,
Mm-hmm.
like I've been mulling over this work shit in my head all goddamn day. Here's what I got to do. I've got to keep doing what I'm doing. That's it.
Right.
You know, and one way or the other, and the same thing is that with everything else, this sobriety thing, it fits in what I'm doing, what all of us do on a
Mm-hmm.
daily basis. It doesn't matter if you want, specific results. They're not magically going to come. You got to work for them. They're
Mm-hmm.
not always going to
Mm-hmm.
happen in our time. Imagine that.
Right.
So I just if I get pissed off, if I stop doing what I'm doing in sobriety or in life or at work, shit's going to go bad. That's
Right.
just it. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's yes. Yes. Exactly. No, I had a real good example of it in my face this week, but I can't talk about it. So
Well, that's okay. That's okay. You know what? And maybe at some point you'll be able to talk about it, right?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, but it's not my. It's not mine. Again, the whole. There are no bad examples, but yes,
Oh, I
there,
got you.
there was shit going on in my face this week, and I looked at it and went, "Wow, okay, I won't be doing that."
Right. So, did you find your consequence part in the reading? Did
No,
you give up?
no, I
Okay.
just gave up. I threw the book down.
Okay. Gotcha. But
The moment
no,
had
I'm
passed.
exactly. Reading was done. The moment had passed. All those sort of things.
Uh
But
huh.
I mean, seriously, just I don't know, just to wrap this up in my head, if nothing else, is just that, um, we say this all the time, and it's kind of funny to me, but it's funny to me that we need these fucking reminders. you
Uh,
know, I need to be reminded to be grateful. I need to be reminded to live in the moment. All these sort of things. That's literally why we do all the things that we do every single day, is because we're at the edge of the cliff. There's the cliff thing again. I finally
mm-hmm.
remembered it, but literally, we're at the edge of that fucking cliff every day, and even during the day. Maybe if I get all worried and I start worrying about the future or the past, I start getting dragged towards that fucking cliff again. I don't need that
Right.
shit.
Exactly.
Because all it does is that, if anything else, stress is not, it isn't good for anyone. Certainly, sure as fuck isn't good for any goddamn alcoholic.
Right.
Stress, anger, all those sort of things. There's no good in any of it. None of
Mm-hmm.
it.
I know.
So,
Right. Exactly. Well, and he said we need to keep being reminded of these things. Right. Well, I've heard once or twice in the rooms we're quick forgetters,
right.
and we are. We are. I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the personality of an alcoholic. Is we we forget what kind of pieces of shit we were. We forget, the things that we have to do. We have to continually remind ourselves of what we need to do and how we need to be. Otherwise, we just slip right back into the old shit, because that's what, again, we've talked about a million times on here, 40 years versus 14. It's easier to go back to the old stuff because that's what we did
Right.
for most of our lives. So this new shit we have to continually work at. I mean, I don't know. I might make it to 84. I'm not planning on it.
Right. Right.
So yeah, if I make it to 84, then the scales will tip and I will have been sober longer than I wasn't. But I don't think so. I'm
Right.
probably going to have been an active alcoholic longer than I have been sober. That's just the way things are probably going to work out.
Right. Yeah, we're not one of those, 20 somethings that you hit 50 and you're like, "Oh, I've been sober longer than
Right.
than
And
I
I wasn't.
drank."
Right.
Yeah, it's when you get sober in your, early 40s, which is what we were, then yeah, the odds of that, again, not that it can't happen,
Sure.
I'm a hiker now. I walk now,
Ooh, I've
so
heard that
I just
somewhere.
was I wasn't sure if I ever told you that. I don't know. You and I don't talk that much anymore, so
Right.
just so you're aware, I'm a hiker now.
Ah.
But I got a couple of things about that. But it just reminded me of these habits that we learn. So I was in Walmart the other day, and I've got part of my story. What I was going to tell you in a minute or whenever is just that I've been to Walmart like 5 fucking times. But um, I grabbed something. I'm walking out, and they got all the school supplies out. At Walmart
Right.
now.
Uh-huh.
And this Walmart here, it's nice. People are cool. It's clean. It's organized. There's
Sure.
nothing. It's nice.
It's not Steelyard.
No, 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 no. If anyone ever gets to Cleveland, do not go to Steel Yard because it's just
Right.
you'll be disappointed any store you go into. But yeah, the place is a fucking shithole down there.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm walking out and I got a couple of things I had to pick up, and I'm walking by the school supplies, kind of cut through one of the aisles there where it
Mm-hmm.
was, and there was I almost didn't notice it, but it caught my eye. I didn't consciously notice it, but I stopped and I turned around because there was a box of crayons laying on the floor right next to the bin.
Uh-huh.
I picked them up and I put them back in the bin and I kept walking. And I'm walking about halfway to the checkout. I'm like, fuck me and this goddamn shit, man. I'm like, there's no reason in the world. Why do I care about a box of goddamn crayons in some fucking Walmart?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was something, like I said, I wasn't walking like, oh, there's a box of crayons. I saw it instinctively, stopped, picked them up and put them back and then kept walking. It was fucking weird. But we talked about it before, the restrooms and the paper towels and things like that. And
Right.
there could be an entire fucking restroom where overflowed garbage can or whatever, and then I go put my paper towel in there and it falls and I'll pick mine up and I'll put it back in.
Well.
I mean, it's I noticed that right away, and we've talked about that before, but these little things, and that's why I said when you were talking about it, it really just, the word habit just kept popping into my head thinking, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this whole living in the moment, it's literally it's ingrained in what we do, which is a good thing.
Yep.
And that was funny last night when I went up to, so I went up there, the ski jump thing, took some pictures there, and then watched the sunset. That was my point, to go up there and watch the sunset. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize it was a ski jump there, but man, it was monstrous, just fucking crazy. But I mean, cool. You could see for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting out there, and I got back here, and it was like almost 9 o'clock, and I'm like, "Ah, I want to relax for a minute." I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's fucking 9 o'clock. I'm like, I'm not gonna get to bed until like 10:30. I'm like, you know what? You fucking idiot. You took a nice little trip out there. You had a nice
Mm-hmm.
sunset. You got to see some shit. And like, stop it.
Right.
And I did. I got to bed. Like, I know how my schedule is. If I watch TV for a half hour, take out the contacts, play on my phone, do whatever, and then it's yeah, it was 10:30. By the time I got to bed, it didn't fucking matter. It was nice.
Yeah. Right.
I got to go and enjoy a moment and watch a nice
Absolutely.
sunset.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Same thing with me last night. I went to the ball game last night,
Oh, that's right. I was going to ask you about that. I forgot to write it down though. Yes, do
Yeah.
tell.
I mean, no big deal. I went and I got myself a decent seat. I got the tickets like a month and a half ago. Yeah, I just went and ate a couple brats and a bag of peanuts and watched the ball game. It was a pitcher's duel. It was final score was 2-1. The goddamn Deans won. Um, yeah, but it was fun. It was nice. It was enjoyable. It was a beautiful summer night. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. It was just great. Yeah, but same thing. I got home. It was fucking 9:45. I got home. It was 9:45. I'm like, I'm tired, whatever. But I got to go out and enjoy myself. It was nice. Get to do that shit today.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, that all these trips I've taken and stuff like that, when I get up at literally, some ungodly hour and leave at, 6 in the morning, and a couple of times it's been, well, quite a few times it's been Saturday morning, and you and I are
Mm-hmm.
recording on a Friday night. By
Right.
the time all's said and done, it's even when when I get done, if it's early-ish when we started, it's still 9:30 probably,
Mm-hmm.
and then same deal. I might get to bed by 11, and if I got to get up at like 5 or 4,
Right.
it, I don't have to do anything. But if I want to leave at a
Mm-hmm.
certain time,
Yeah.
I still got my readings to do, and I got my shit to do, and get my stuff, my car packed, and blah blah blah. But you know what? The thing I always think about, and this goes back to the Keating Center. Um, when we were still in the 3-quarter dorm downstairs and I was working for that place out in Rocky River, I was still taking the bus. So this was really early. I was
Mm-hmm.
within my first month there. And for whatever reason, I had one of those nights when I couldn't sleep. And that was the
Yeah.
first time at that point, and I was 4 or 5 months sober, somewhere in that area.
All right.
And I remember, went to bed and it'd be 11ish, by the time I usually went to bed, 10:30,
Right.
11. And,
Yeah.
I got falling asleep and everyone else is finally going to bed and it's midnight, and it's 1 and it's fucking 2:30. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I'm going to be a fucking wreck.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm not going to be hungover.
Right.
And I mean, no doubt, man, I was fucking tired because I got
Uh-huh.
like 3 hours of sleep or whatever it was
Right.
by the time I got to sleep. But you know what? I was not hungover. I can deal with tired. I don't like it,
Right.
but I mean, God, think about the fucking years ago waking up, and I mean, I wake up tired sometimes and I got a little bit of cloudiness to me, and I'm like, oh, add the booze to this, and now I remember what this was.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's if you got a little bug or something, and you go to
Right.
work and yeah, same thing, man. It's like, fuck, this is still better than half the shit I powered through when I was hungover or whatever. Right. You come to, the alarm goes off, right? You're still half in the bag. You get up and as the day progresses, you're fucking getting sicker and sicker. And oh, yeah, good stuff. And you still powered through that shit because there
Right.
was a drink waiting for you at the end of that. I did. Yeah, so yeah, I power through lots of stuff today and I go, well, exactly. Same thing, man. At least I'm not hungover. At least I'm not fucking, dying to get to that next drink. I'll get home. I'll get something to eat. I'll get some sleep. It'll be fine.
Right. Yeah, there is that goes back to the other thing we talk about all the time is, the freedom. It's really it's so important, to remember that, the humility, the living in the moment, and just the freedom of all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those three simple things, man, if nothing else, I mean, are keys. But yeah, the freedom, just being able to go and do, and like you said, not having to chase that drink at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for me, when I woke up all fucking tired, I just started drinking again.
Right.
Which again didn't, I mean, okay, this might surprise you, but that didn't help. Okay,
Hmm.
just letting you know. So I know you weren't the maintenance type of drink, but I'm just
Right.
telling you, just so you.
Again, I've talked about it. I couldn't. Right. If
Right,
I started, I didn't stop. There was
right, right,
there was no grabbing a nip here and there. Fucking, a couple hours has gone by. I should probably go get a shot or two. No. I started. I put it in, man. I didn't stop till I was fucking unconscious.
right. Which again is just, it's interesting when we had that whole conversation about it, because I would drink. Obviously, I could easily, and I did drink like that, but
Mm-hmm.
and I don't call it control, the fact that I could drink during the day,
Right.
but somehow being a maintenance drinker, it's fucking weird when you look at it now. I'm like, because I mean, literally the way that I drank like you did also, but still also did that, and I don't know how I did both.
Right.
Well, I mean, just in general, how do you go through life fucking loaded? I mean, everywhere. These,
Uh-huh.
it's just, yeah, just again, freedom. What a terrible life that was, and
Hmm.
um, I see that's a good thing. It's we when we try to look back in these things, thankfully we get to laugh at them now because you know what, it's not that way today.
Exactly. And it was a ridiculous fucking way to live.
Oh God, yeah, God, yeah. Oh, real quick here, and I haven't. I think I can do it now. Riverside had the easy way for me to search for the word "fuck" in it. Um,
Right.
I put the transcripts into a Word document when I do it. I could search for it, but I haven't. But
Mm.
what made me think about that was the new Deadpool is coming out, I think, this
Uh-huh.
weekend, and
Yeah.
they were talking about it on the radio. Ryan Reynolds said, or somebody said that apparently that this is the first. Number one, it's rated R, not PG-13,
Hmm.
so it's the first like whatever superhero type of movie or whatever the franchise is. Marvel, is it Marvel?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so the first Marvel one that's ever been rated R. So that's number one. But apparently they're like, yeah, the F word is used like 100 times in that. And the first thing I'm like, fucking amateurs. That's literally what I thought. I'm like, yeah, you fucking we do that. We do that in 90 minutes, and it's probably a 2 hour movie. I'm like, they got you guys fucking beat, man.
That's right.
But so on a completely other note, and I had the note on here to talk about it. So I'm sure you saw it, and I knew that I think you know that I was going to reach out to make sure we could announce what was our mystery guest. But
Ah, yes.
yeah, coming up on September 1st, and we were posting about it. I did it posted a couple of times this week on Instagram, so take a look if you haven't seen it.
Mm.
But the guy's name is William Moyers,
Mm-hmm.
Moyers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so here's the thing, and the reason that they wanted us to kind of keep a little bit hush hush is because he's going on a number of different podcasts, I'm sure, and
Right.
media outlets and all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Because as Mike put it, I mean, it's a book tour.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming out with a new book. He got sober some years ago, wrote a book about his sobriety, and then at some point relapsed. And I can read, kind of a little write up that they gave us here in a second, just a paragraph of
Mm-hmm.
it, but. He's been sober again, which you're figuring you maybe handful of years. I don't know. I mean, we're
Yeah.
guessing. We're
Yeah.
guessing, right?
Yeah. I did look and I don't fucking remember, but I want to say around 5, something like that.
Okay. And then on top of that, so he was a journalist. He was with
Mm-hmm.
CNN, I think.
Right.
I mean, he's been on through his first book, I think, was on all these different places. I mean, all these different talk shows and all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of it, he's a VP of public affairs for
Mm-hmm.
Hazelden Betty
Right.
Ford.
Right.
So all these things in there. And when they first his whoever she is, she's cool. Her name is Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up reaching out to us, and I mean, that's like I said the first time when we were talking about this. That's the first person that I have not asked, "Have you listened?" Because I'm like, no, get this dude on here. But so to your point though, Mike, when I first sent you the email, you're like, but you're missing this part, so you can talk about that part with it.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, well, if for you older folks out there like us, yeah, you go William Moyer. Wait, Bill Moyers? Yes, he is junior. His father was Bill Moyers, who was yeah, politician and journalist and lots and lots and lots of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, just kind of cool. Guy's been around, done a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, we're really lucky we got him. I don't know exactly how we did, but we did.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I didn't ask a lot of questions. I'm just like, yeah, let's just figure out, when's when, so or when you want to do it. And I said, yeah, we'll work it out. So, but the other thing too, they wanted us to kind of keep it quiet because the book is actually being released on September 3rd. He's recording with us in a couple of weeks, and then we're going to sit on the episode and release it on Sunday, September 1st. So we
Mm-hmm.
got the okay to do that. Then the book comes out on September 3rd. But yeah, I mean, it is. I think it's fair to say he's kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then it's Hazelton is the one that's publishing the book because it says publishing in conjunction with the 75th anniversary of Hazelton Betty Ford, where William Cope Myers has worked for over 28 years. Broken Open is the name of his book.
Mm-hmm.
Exposes the truth that there is more to recovery than simply staying sober,
Mm.
especially in the midst of the deadly. of a deadly opioid epidemic that kills thousands of people every year. So that's a deal. I mean, apparently
Yeah.
he went, he was sober for a number of years, went to the dentist, got prescribed some sort of opiate, and then
Mm-hmm.
ended up relapsing. I mean, we've heard that story a number of times, right?
Millions. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, and I mean, obviously you and I haven't talked about this much, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he has a certain number of things he wants to talk about. I'm sure his background, his first book, second book, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he has Hazelden, who knows? But I mean, obviously, I think we want to give him, you know, give him a long enough leash to do whatever the fuck he wants. But
Yeah, definitely.
um, I really hope that and I think we do. Most of our guests, don't necessarily copy the same way they are in other podcasts. And I really
Mm-hmm.
hope with this guy, I hope that that's the case. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we want to talk about everything that he's all about, but hopefully we can get him, and I think we can get him comfortable enough to just fucking loosen up and have a decent time. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly. That's what we're shooting for. That's what we always
right,
shoot for. Yeah. Get
right.
comfortable and start swearing.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing too. I think the advantage here is I'm not saying that not all podcasts run as long as we do, but
Mm-hmm.
we've got a longer, definitely a longer time frame, for him
Yeah.
to talk about a lot of things than a lot of people do. So I think that's hopefully that'll be I don't want to say an advantage. It's not a competition, but it sort of
Mm-hmm.
is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, and I would imagine he's doing like full book tour, so he's probably doing like the fucking the radio shit,
Right.
where he's doing 5 minute blips with 100 different radio stations around the country and shit like that, and
Right.
yeah. So we'll see. It's gonna be it's a nice get, as they say in the biz.
Yeah, it really is, and like you said, not sure why, but we weren't questioning it. Just kind of shut
Right.
my mouth and trying to get the goddamn thing scheduled. And
Hmm.
it was funny though when I emailed her this week. I'm like, I said, I know you mentioned about waiting, and just wanted to check in, see if it's okay, if we can, obviously announce it. And
Hmm.
in the back of my head, just want to check in and see if you fucking changed your mind, or
Right. Yep.
hopefully you haven't listened to anything yet. Haven't realized that you're putting them in the middle of a couple of dickheads, but
Right.
but no, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the Hazelden connection too, and I guess
Hmm.
I'd love to hear. I knew nothing. The name did not even click, with me.
Yeah.
Didn't know about his dad or anything like that. So
Right.
but once again, we talk about this all the time. There's a lot of reasons why there's two of us on here,
Hmm.
and that just happens to be one of them. So much of these those sort of things just go right up over my head. Not always,
Right.
but sometimes I'm just like, Bill, who? What?
And I did just glance at my phone. Yes, his dad was the press secretary for Lyndon Johnson.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
God, I
yeah.
forgot about that.
I mean,
So I
I knew
think
his
that was,
White House. I just couldn't remember exactly, but yeah, that was it. But
yeah.
he had a long career, and clearly the media and whatever. Yeah, I mean, I knew his dad's name. It was one of the famous fucking names from the '70s and shit. Right?
Right. Yeah. I didn't. I don't know what the fuck I was doing in the 70s.
Nah,
It wasn't
you're
like a.
playing with Tinker Toys or something.
I had Tinker toys. They were fucking stupid, but and back in our day, they were actually wood, not plastic.
Right.
So yeah, Tinker toys, wood Tinker toys, the big fucking GI Joes and
Hmm.
all that stuff, where the beards would come off in the water. Quality toys, definitely
That's
quality
right.
toys.
Kung Fu Grip.
Yeah. So we got a couple of things coming up again. Just as a recap, we've got obviously William Moyers coming up on September 1st,
Hmm.
Dr. Sarah August 23rd,
Right.
and then John M on August 9th. So you get to put up with us for this week and then next week, and then we have a guest on the 9th and then again the 23rd. So
Hmm.
yeah, big time shit coming up.
That's right.
So actually let's just do one more thing before we take a break, and this is just one that I was listening to a podcast the other day, and again, for the fucking life of me, I don't remember how this came up, but the question that came into my head was, Mike, how do you define the word sobriety or sobriety as in general?
Well, Bill, how do I define sobriety? Well, it's not just being clean and it's not just being sober. It's yeah, it's everything. It's a new way of life. It is the easiest way is doing the next right thing. You know, we do it, we say it all the fucking time, and it is the easiest answer, but it is. It's continuing to try to do the next right thing in everything we fucking do. And if you do that, then, you know, the substances become unnecessary. That's living sober. I mean, you know, and we've seen plenty of times, you know, people who are in the program and you know I'm sober, I don't drink anymore or whatever, and they're miserable fucks. And yeah, and I, you know, that's not what it is to me, man.
Right.
You know, I don't want to be a miserable fuck. Occasionally I'm a miserable fuck still, but most of the time I'm not a miserable fuck anymore. Yeah, not being that, being happy, being kind, being a good person, being a good boy. Be a good boy, god damn it.
Right.
Yes, that's it, man. It's not being an asshole, not being hurtful, not being a liar, not being a thief, not being a cheat, all that stuff. Being a better person, being a good person. That's what sobriety is to me. And yeah, if you're doing that and you're working at all that shit, you don't need the substances. The substances they go way down the list, you know? I mean, trying not to be an asshole to the person that cut you off in traffic, that's a lot harder than not picking up a drink for me today. You
Right.
know, way fucking harder. You know, not picking up a drink. Again, we've talked about it a million times. So I think about it. Does it cross my mind? Of course it does. You know, and I play the fucking tape through with that one. Is that going to make your life any better? No. Are you going to be miserable again? Yes. Well, then fuck that shit. You know, but somebody cuts me off, raising my middle finger, laying on my horn. Um, that feels pretty goddamn good. But don't do that either because it's temporary and it's fucking what's the point, man? Burning calories for nothing. It's not being a good boy. And in the grand scheme of things, I want to be that good boy so that the substances don't play a factor in my life anymore. So that's what being sober is. How about that, Bill?
Well, thank you, Mike. But yeah, you know, and we had talked about it, and I know it, you know, even went back to Founders Day that one year I was fucking around with Kathy, but
Mm,
you know, about her, you know, saying she hadn't, you know, she was sober because she hadn't drank in a couple of days or didn't have wine
right,
in a couple of days,
right.
and you know, it's when we said, you know, sober is a lifestyle, you know,
Mm-hmm.
which is really, I mean, what everything that you said, I mean, not that I'm trying to simplify it, but it's,
Mm,
you know, it is, it's all these different things, you know, and like you said, it's not the substance or the lack of or just putting
mm-hmm.
down. So I used to say, you know, obviously in AA all the time, you know, just putting down the jug is not enough, you know,
Right.
just
Put the
changing your
plug
breath.
in the jug.
Right. And just changing your breath, you know,
Mm-hmm.
is not enough. You know, there's more
No.
work to be involved, you know. And I mean, that's the first step. I mean, you can't work on yourself. I mean, for us people, you know, we can't be better people if we're still, you know, ingesting that shit.
Right.
Um, but but yeah, like you said, and I love the fact of, you know, doing the next right thing. It is being a good boy. It is not getting
Mm,
pissed off. I mean, being even
mm.
keeled, trying to do things for other people. I don't know, living in the moment, like we were talking about before, all of these
Right.
different things. It's that goes back to that old saying, you know, what are you going to change? We got to change everything but our name, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it really is change the people, the places, and the things. All that shit. It doesn't mean if anyone's out there and you're just you're newly sober or thinking about it or getting that or even, you know, been sober for a little bit, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm not telling you you gotta change or, you
Mm.
know, drop everyone in your life, but you need to take a fucking look.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and whether it's a, I mean, I hate to say it, but whether it's a spouse or it's a family member,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sometimes people need to stay away from their kids for a little bit with their
Yep.
adult kids,
Yep.
whatever the case is, you know, every once in a while, this shit just we have to make these changes because anything we put before this whole sobriety thing, you know, is gonna it's gonna go away. Everything else is
Yep.
gonna go away, you know.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah, you talk about that. when we first got sober, you drive down the highway and it's like drive sober, and I'm like, fuck, there's sober. There's something what sober means, man. You don't
Right.
understand, man. It's not just about yeah. So you're not drinking. You're not sober.
No. Right. You're
Yeah,
dry. There is a
yeah,
difference.
yeah. You're just free of alcohol at that moment, which is
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. We're not putting
Right.
that down. It just to us the word means something 100% and completely different, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, just wanted to get that. I figured that'd be a relatively quick one to get out of the way, but that made you
Mm-hmm.
think for a minute too, which kind of made me laugh. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. What do you think? Break?
Break time. All right. We'll be back with more of this wonderful conversation right after these words from our sponsors.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we wanted two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.sobernotmature.com, and we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's
Yes.
www.soberNotMatureShop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can
Right.
access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is
at
a
least,
big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And
They
once
are.
again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping though. Okay, now I got to say www.soberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone, you've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone, welcome back. And with your sponsors. So when we do the break like that, I write down the time. So I the start and the finish of it roughly, so I know where to look at the recording. So I wrote it down and you did that. I lost 3 seconds in that time frame. I'm like, okay, wait, I'm waiting. I knew it'd be this. I'm like, okay, now there we go. Now we got to write it down. But it was funny though. It was funny. Yeah,
Right.
we'll see.
We'll see. Right. It may be a sponsor. It may be sponsors. Yeah. So I figured I'd cover my bases.
Yeah, but hopefully you enjoyed those messages that you just heard.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, all this stuff so far. I mean, I love the reading, and yeah, I don't know. I like digging back and talking about some of this stuff. Just something is, I don't know, simplistic, in a sense to the word sobriety. But man, it's kind of a big deal, right?
It is. It's the most important thing in my life today.
Right. Hang on 1 second here. Let's take a look at what we got here. Okay, so you know what? This came up and we haven't talked about it for a while, so I don't really want to necessarily have to beat up the point again. But once again, listening to podcasts and all those sort of things, I hear a particular word, quite a bit. When things get rough and when things bother you and all this sort of things. Obviously, people put the word on it as the trigger, and it used to. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't
We
grate
can't
on
say
me.
that anymore. We have to say the T word.
What triggers? Oh, nice. Okay. But so it used to bother me a lot, actually grate on me when I
Mm-hmm.
heard it, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't as much anymore. But I just think that maybe it's because maybe this is the point that I think people overuse the word to begin with.
Of
To the point
course.
where I don't think people even understand what people that say this triggered me and this didn't
Mm.
trigger me. I don't think people understand it anymore. So that's why, and I'd written this down, I don't know, a few weeks ago, but um, rather than the event that people call a trigger, I just thought
Mm-hmm.
maybe again maybe we could talk about really what it means to us and maybe put this in real terms again for people. So if somebody said to you that triggered me, or technically without you using the word trigger, what would you
Mm-hmm.
say if something happened to you that would normally invoke that word? How do you define a trigger without using that word?
Oh, well, yeah, I've said it before and I will say it again, apparently. Excuse. It's an excuse. It is something that has allowed me to behave badly, whatever that bad behavior is, whether it's drinking or using or being a dick or whatever. This triggered me. No, it didn't, asshole. You allowed it to, you use it as an excuse for your bad behavior. It triggered me. So it has more control over you. So you're allowing these things to happen. Nah, fuck that, man. Nothing triggers me. I mean, things trigger me constantly. I, to evoke emotions, whatever. But allowing outside things to control my reactions or allowing outside forces to yeah, excuses, man. It's all fucking excuses. It's all it is. A trigger is nothing more than a way to get away with doing something that you shouldn't be doing. It triggered me. No, it didn't. You allowed something to allow you to behave badly. Period.
And I like the fact, I was just about to write that down. Allowing yourself to do that, or allowing
Mm-hmm.
something to do that.
Yes.
And I think that's a great way to put it, because and I know we've talked about this probably plenty of times, but I don't know. The word gets thrown out there so long or so much that I truly think it loses the meaning, and I don't think
Mm-hmm.
people really understand what it means.
Right.
It's just they think that they're anytime anything happened, it's a trigger. And to your point, no, it's not.
Mm.
And even as far back as early in this stuff, when somebody would say, "Oh, you don't want to do that because it triggers you,"
Uh-huh.
the word bothered me, and I didn't understand why. But then when I figured out, I didn't figure out everything, but I figured out to
Mm-hmm.
the point where nothing is making me do anything.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, I would have to allow it, and fuck that. No outside influence is going to make me want to drink. It can't.
Right.
That's impossible.
Right.
And no outside influence is going to make me physically drink again, unless
Mm-hmm.
somebody knocks me down, holds me down, and
Mm-hmm.
literally opens my mouth, forces it open, and dumps booze down
Right.
my throat. I mean, you can't. If you were laying on your back and somebody had you down like that with your mouth open, you couldn't move, and somebody dumped a booze in your mouth, you're going to swallow it or you're going to die.
Right.
So that would be the only way that I'm going to drink, or somebody could make me drink. But
Yeah.
the thing of it is just I figured out for myself that anything like that, it's if something makes me uncomfortable, that's the deal. It's not a trigger, it's just something
Mm-hmm.
inside me that's making me uncomfortable. Then
Mm-hmm.
I've got to figure out the why. Am I in the wrong place? Is it the wrong
Right.
time? Am I around the wrong people? Am I doing the
Mm-hmm.
wrong thing?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, then either way, it's on me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% responsible for ourselves. Absolutely.
Damn it.
100%. Yep. Yep.
But yeah, it's just it doesn't really, like I said, it doesn't grate on me as much as it used to. But still, I think that people overuse it, and really it's been diluted to the point where people just have no fucking idea what it
Mm-hmm.
is. And people talk about it all the time. Let's figure out. I mean, there's podcast episodes that are
Mm.
specifically set up to talk
Mm-hmm.
about what may trigger you at this event or
Mm-hmm.
that event. You know what? There is nothing in the world. There's no such fucking thing as a trigger. To Mike's point, either it's an excuse if you
Mm-hmm.
use the word,
Mm-hmm.
or use that situation. as a reason to act badly or drink or whatever the case,
Yep.
that's an excuse and that's your fucking fault.
Yep.
Or if you feel, I'm going to say quote unquote triggered, it's also your fault. You're in the wrong
Yeah.
place. So you're doing the wrong
Yeah.
thing. That's it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Again, 100% responsible for my actions, feelings, all that shit. It's all me, nobody else. But again, and we've talked about it. Yes, it's all my responsibility, and because it's all my responsibility, it's also all of my freedom.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, bottom line is that no such thing, at least in our minds, there really is no such thing as triggers. And
Nope.
honestly, there isn't anything as a trigger. It's just a fucking word.
Yeah.
It's a word that people have. I mean, it's been around for fucking years. Like somebody gets on your nerves, it could be used even in a non-drinking sense.
Sure.
That a person triggers me. No, they don't.
No, they don't. No, I've allowed them to make me feel a certain way. Well,
Right.
then it's again my responsibility to do something about that.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean there's no reason to give anyone, and this may sound I don't know if this is going to sound egotistical, but if it is, fuck it. There's no reason for us to give anyone else that kind of power over us,
Mm-mm.
and because that's what it is. You're allowing somebody else to
Oh, absolutely.
to dictate and rule your this sober life that we're living, and it's fuck them. That's not their place.
Right. Exactly. By doing this work, by being a part of this program, by doing this shit, we enjoy a new freedom and a new happiness, which means that nothing can fucking trigger me.
Right. So yeah, like I said,
other than assholes, saying that they're triggered. Fuck you.
But even that, so you're allowing that word. That's why I thought about it too. Because I remember when I wrote this down again, but I just thought about it as I was reading it off. It really doesn't bother me as much anymore. But I roll my fucking eyes at it because I'm thinking it's stupid. It's fucking ridiculous.
It is. How do we really feel?
I know. Yeah, it's like we talked about that last week about sugar coating, right? Was that last week we talked about sugar coating?
Sure.
Sugar coating.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just it's I don't know. It's what's the fucking point? Why beat around the bush? Yeah, really. Mike and Bill, how do you feel? Well, I think we just fucking told you.
That's right.
So, real quick, and I just want to tell you about a couple of things about this place and a couple of things that went on this week. Again, I think couple of these things you're probably going to laugh at me about, but so first of all, obviously when I got here, obviously I was able to get in, not a problem. Texted everyone, I'm like, hey, I'm here.
Right.
And I could actually get in because obviously last week I couldn't, but neat place. It's a nice little neighborhood. It's an older neighborhood, not like shacks or anything like that. It's not a bad neighborhood, just older.
Right.
And this house is, and I thought that they had said that it was built in the 40s, but they've owned it since the 40s. Because I look back at the original write up because I was curious. So I don't know how old the house is, but I don't know. Maybe it's 100 years old like yours. I have no idea. The kitchen in the living room area has been redone. It's got like the kind of like the, I don't want to say fake wood floors, but kind of like the laminate fake wood floors.
Exactly.
The kitchen's been done, new appliances, countertops. I mean, I think you saw the pictures. Bedrooms are fine. The basement, it's an old basement, all that stuff. But all in all, it's just it's nice. They've clearly done something, with the windows and stuff. Because even when it got cold, I didn't have. I mean, the air hadn't been on in a couple of days, but the heat didn't kick on or anything like that, so it kept it warm in here. But so when I first get in here, everything I do when I get to a place, because my key is I need the internet, I need an Ethernet plug. Need to make sure that works. I mean, before I even unpack anything, I usually test out one of my computers. So I come in here and I'm looking for the modem in the router. I'm like, I can't find it. All walking around, all the bedrooms. I'm even looking at a bathroom. I'm looking in cupboards. I'm looking in counter, under the counter. So I'm like, sometimes depending on where they had to hook it up, it's tucked in someplace and I can't fucking find it. So I go downstairs, looking all over the place. I'm like, I don't see a fucking router. So I connected on my phone. So I know I'm connected to it, but I'm like, where the fuck is this? I'm like, I'm not going to message this guy.
It exists, but
yeah, and I knew it wasn't because when he first sent me the Wi-Fi stuff, what showed on the Airbnb page, he must have had Verizon internet in here because it was like the network was Verizon something. So I knew it wasn't that. I knew it was something else. It's like Cellcom or something in this area, whatever it is, it's internet
Right.
service. And I do a speed test and the speed's quick. And I'm like, fuck, I just got to find this.
Right.
So finally I go downstairs and one of the rooms I find that in this little box that's I don't know, about the size of a trying to think size of a small speaker, I mean, really kind of a small box. I'm like, well,
All
that's kind
right.
of weird. Then I see a cable and I follow the cable and it's sitting on like the router. It looks like a little bit bigger speaker, but the cable's plugged into it and that's right on top of the shelf in the washer
Eh,
downstairs.
eh.
And I'm like, okay, so I need to plug in and be upstairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I look and I'm looking around, I'm like, fuck me. The only good thing is like 2 months ago, I started traveling with both of my Ethernet cables, the 50-foot that I use, and
Uh-huh.
then the 100-foot that they gave me for work.
Right.
I'm like, just in case, I'll throw that in there, thankfully, because I wouldn't have had enough space.
Uh-huh.
So literally where it is, it's right below the kitchen sink. And I'm like, I see the pipe going up there. I'm like, fuck, I wonder if my cable will fit through there. So tried that, it didn't work. So I grabbed the 100-foot cable. It's down the stairs around. It's plugged in, kind of running along. They had a rug in, like a big rug. I had my other rug over it. So that's how I hooked it up. And then I'm like, okay, I found this area that I wanted to put this nice open wall. And then, I start setting everything up. I'm like, this will work here. So I was going to do it one of the bedrooms, and then just to keep it out of the way.
Right.
But no 3-prong plugs in the bedrooms. I'm like, no big deal. Remember that old house, right? You don't know anything
Right.
about that. So
No.
yeah, one plug and not 3-prong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get getting everything set up, and then I look and I'm like, oh fuck, there's not even a 3-prong plug where I set my stuff up. And I'm like,
Right.
fuck me. It's open concept, so there's one by the kitchen, but even with my 2 power strips, I don't have enough space. I'm like, God damn it. So right up to Walmart, bought an extension, 5-foot extension cord, got that all hooked up. So I'm all good to go. But during this process too, this was like on Sunday when I was hooking that up. But on Saturday, I think I tried to make some coffee on Saturday. Maybe it was Sunday morning. One of the coffee pots that has actually the reusable kind of mesh filter in it.
Right.
Kind of a triangular
Mm-hmm.
type, not the round
Right.
one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, okay, well, one of these. And there was filters in the cupboard, but I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. So I think it was Sunday when I made my coffee. Put in normal amount, made full pot of coffee. I come out here and I look, and there's only like I don't know, 2 cups of coffee in there. Like maybe it's a 2 or the 4 cup thing. I open up the top, it's full. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is the filter obviously didn't work, just filled up with water and leaked down around the sides, thankfully into the coffee pot. But I'm
Mm.
like, fuck me. So I dump everything out. Like I try to make a half a pot. That doesn't work. So I'm like, well, I guess this filter doesn't work. So I use a regular filter, try to make a full pot. That doesn't work. I'm like, God damn it. So I was able to make a half a pot of coffee with a real filter, right? So this is
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. So it works on Sunday, made a little bit, maybe I think Sunday afternoon. Monday morning, same deal. It kind of gets stuck. And I noticed that the pot didn't fit well underneath. Through this whole process, I'm like, I should just go up to fucking Walmart and buy a $10 coffee pot.
Right.
So after 4 different tries, finally Monday night, I went up to Walmart and I just bought a small coffee pot. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not even going to try to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that had nothing to do with the house, but the thing of it is, this part of it, I'm like, I'm so fucking stupid. I'm so fucking hard headed. And I don't know that I was going for the easier, softer way or just being fucking bullheaded. Figured
Right.
I'm going to make this fucking work.
Uh-huh.
So,
How'd that
so
work
yeah.
out for you?
Well, after hearing my story, but I mean, it's a nice place. Like I said, the whole thing with the power power cords and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and 3-prong plugs and blah blah blah. They again they redid the kitchen, so they had to put obviously that had to be, I'm sure, up to code.
Right.
But it works, man. It's just a matter of getting set up. But yeah, like I said, it's nice. It's got a carport, so it was raining when I got here, so I was able to back my car in and pull up to the point to give myself space. So I was able to empty my car while it was raining,
Mm.
which I had to do that one time when I was up in Fond du Lac, or no, Oshkosh, and had to load my car in the rain. That sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just nice. And then I went again, spent all this time in Michigan. That the place that I went, that I took all the pictures of, that
Right.
um, honestly, and I know I put it in the post, but this so far as that view that I saw
Mm-hmm.
in that river,
Mm-hmm.
um, best. so far. And
Yep.
literally, when I was down in Arkansas, I'm thinking if it was normal, where you could tell it hadn't rained that much, that river was kind of dry. I think
Mm-hmm.
that river would look like this.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my God, I get to this place. Well, first of all, you gotta quote unquote register and pay like $11,
Right.
and nobody's there on a Sunday when I went. So these other guys were there. I'm like, have you read this? Can you figure out what to do? And he's like, hey, you just got to fill this out and put the money in this tube over here. I'm like, oh fuck. So so I look and it's $11. Well, first of all, I rarely carry cash. I had some, and
Mm-hmm.
guess what I had? I had a fucking 20.
That.
So the park got $20. But um when you first walk in, and it's called Pierce Gorge, and it's like Pier 1, Pier 2, Pier 3, Pier 4, blah blah blah, all these different areas where you can look. So the first one I walk up to, and I'm like, oh fuck me, and there's these nice little rapids. I mean, not like beastie rapids, just little ones.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to walk out. I'm looking at. I spent like 10 or 15 minutes there, just kind of looking, taking some pictures. Then the second one I walk up to, and it points down. You got to walk down, and you go up this little rise, and I'm like, fuck me. That's the one where I was up on the hill, and there's these raging rapids coming down. It was
Mm-hmm.
fucking spectacular,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I walked all around in there. I don't know, that day I walked like, I don't know, 3, 4 miles, whatever the deal was. But man, it was fucking beautiful. And
Yeah.
then the other one was just like a roadside thing. But there's other trails. I think the not this weekend, because I'm going down to Appleton on Saturday. Derek and Katie are coming up tomorrow, and then Kimmy's coming back on Saturday. I think Saturday night. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe the next weekend, because then I'm going to be in Appleton the following weekend, because they're going down to Lollapalooza down by
Right.
Kathy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'm watching Ollie for that night. But I think yeah, like next Saturday I might do some more kicking around. But man, I'm
Yeah.
fucking telling you, it's fucking beautiful. It's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I mean, I mean, you're up there, man. I don't know how far you're gonna wander into Michigan, but I mean, yeah, the picture rocks and all that shit up there by Lake Superior, man. Check that shit out. It's gorgeous up there.
right,
UP's a beautiful place, man. It's fucking rough and wild, and yeah, Hiawatha National Forest and all that shit's up there. It's probably not that far. I mean, hell, the UP isn't that far across. What is it? 150 miles or something, maybe?
is it okay?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, there's I'll have to take a look, because I mean, that the place that I went to was, I don't know, probably like 15 minutes away. Technically it was just up and around. I mean, from here, if I looked across the river and over to the right is kind of where it was. But I had to go obviously up and around 15 minutes away, whatever the deal was. It wasn't that big of a deal. Um
Hmm.
but I mean, I've got this app called All Trails that I can look at, and I mean, that again, that next, not this weekend, but next weekend, maybe on that Saturday, because I've got all day, I'll get up early,
Right.
and take, even if I got to take a hour or so drive someplace, it'd be worth it while I'm up here. But yeah, I mean, this town, there's not much to it, but there's like a little restaurant bar down the road from here that I think that so I was telling Katie and Derek, I'm like, we should just, by the time they get here, I'm like, rather than try to figure out something for dinner, it looked like they have decent burgers and decent food, and it looks like a nice little atmosphere down there. So we might just, try to catch some food down there. But yeah, from a grocery shopping standpoint, I think there's a little grocery store somewhere around here. But I just went. There's Aldi up in, again, 10 minutes away. Same thing with what do you call it? With Walmart's there. Domino's is going to be up the road, which obviously I'm not having pizza tomorrow, but all that shit's 10 minutes away. It's in
Yep.
Michigan, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's. I tell you, I've never been in this part of Wisconsin before,
Hmm.
and certainly I don't. I know I've never been in the UP before, so.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. I spent a winter up there
Oh, did you? Yeah.
with my
Yeah.
insane mother. Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. I completely forgot about that when you said you lived in that area. So
Yeah. I mean, it
yeah,
was down. Where I was at was the other side, down in the Straits of Mackinac. But yeah, yeah. I spent a winter in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
yeah.
And it was
Well,
it was beautiful, but fucking a man, it was rough.
well, and it's funny. I think when I was driving, either might have been when I was going to that trail, or when I was going to, I don't know, last night. But they even now, and they must just keep them up the entire time. The snowmobile trails are still marked, because you can see the stop signs and things like that for
Hmm.
all the in Wisconsin, in normal parts. I mean, like down around Milwaukee, the
Normal
well, I don't
parts.
want to say normal parts. I'm sorry. The more populated areas. That's a better way to
Yes.
put it. I
Right.
apologize. But they'll take those things down
Right.
because there was and I forget who it was that somebody that Dawn, friends of Dawn's, I think like that, because I think Derek might have helped one year actually remark the trails. They had to go out and like remark everything,
Hmm.
late summer, or whatever it was. So it surprised me, to see him up. And I'm like, well, I mean, the winter here, I think lasts probably about 3 weeks, or the summer lasts like 3 weeks.
Right.
But yeah, I wouldn't want to, unless I had no place to be and no place to go and nothing to do. I wouldn't want to be up here during the winter time.
Hmm.
Would not be my choice. Not at all. So, all right, you want to hear about cocaine and sharks?
Constantly.
So, this is again the morning show I listened to,
Hmm.
and I'm just gonna read. Hang on one second. Let me get to the headline here. Sharks off Ray, Rio de Janeiro test
Uh-huh.
positive for cocaine,
Nice.
and this is recent. This is from July 25th. That's today.
Yeah.
Um, it is the 25th, right? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is from Reuters, so it's not like a fake story.
All right.
Sharks off the coast of Brazil's Party City, Rio de Janeiro, have tested positive for cocaine. The predators were consuming the potent stimulant due to its continuous release from inadequate sewage treatment facilities and clandestine refining operations, scientists wrote. But it
Hmm.
says some may also have attacked bricks of cocaine, which traffickers had lost off or at sea off the coast of Brazil, one of the world's largest markets for the drug.
Right.
And first of all, I mean, when they said that, I stopped for a minute. I'm like, wait a second, what? Because then they started talking about, obviously the whole movie Cocaine Bear, which was based on a true story or true-ish
Hmm.
story, whatever the case
Hmm.
was. And obviously they were just talking back and forth about all this stuff. The saying, is it really? Do you think that the water, the actual full ocean area out there is so contaminated that they can just drink it? And I'm like, it's got to be more of I would think, them attacking like the bricks and shit like that, wouldn't you think? Or
Oof,
I
yeah.
mean, how much cocaine would you have to have in like a big, again, a big water area like that to have the entire water contaminated, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, again, that they're testing positive. I mean, I don't know exactly how much is in their systems, but right, trace amounts, whatever. Yeah. I
Right.
mean, they said, runoff from processing plants and shit down there. Sure. Yeah. Talk about hitting the pipe, man.
Right. Well, honestly, the first thing I thought about was, I mean, first of all, I think this goes without saying, but I never want to encounter a shark, unless it's
Sure.
behind like 3 feet of glass or whatever is in an
Hmm.
aquarium or something like that.
Right.
So I have no desire to encounter a shark. But I mean, then I thought, what the fuck would sharks are mean as fuck to begin with, or can
Right.
be.
Yeah.
What about a fucking shark that's all coked up? I'm like, what the fuck? Would they I don't know. I mean, would they be more aggressive? I would assume so,
I
right? Or they
well, corner you in a party and fucking start talking nonsense to you.
You won't believe this. I was out fishing. This fucking shark wouldn't shut up. Did he eat you? No, he just wouldn't stop fucking
Just
talking.
fucking wouldn't stop talking, man. Solving all the world's problems. Fuck.
that's that's just so dumb.
Yep.
But yeah, no, the story itself just made me kind of laugh, and I'm like, well, I said this kind of fits with an alcohol related podcast, alcohol or
Mm-hmm.
drug related podcast. So I'm like, okay, I want to talk about that. So,
All
but
right. Well, good to know. Yes, the sharks are getting coked up.
yeah, it just seriously, it just made me laugh. But the news person in this morning show has been together for like 34 years. I think 30 some years in Milwaukee alone, or close to that, whatever it's been. But
Mm-hmm.
their news person, her name is Carrie. She's been there, shit, 20 plus, maybe even 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're longtime friends. I mean, along with anything else. But she brings in these. She talks about news stories, real news, and all the shit that's going on, and whatever. But she always has these, these kicker stories or these fucking headline stories. And I don't know, they catch my ear every once in a while. I brought up a number of them on here because they
Mm-hmm.
fucking make me laugh,
Right.
But I don't know. It just fucking made me laugh. So okay, did we talk about Bob Newhart? The fact that he died?
We did not.
I
It
didn't think
happened.
so.
Yeah, I believe it was Saturday that
Oh,
he
was it?
passed. Yeah.
I couldn't remember what day it was, but Mark Maron. Oh yeah, yeah. Because on the way up here, that's what it was. That's what made me think about it because Mark Maron replayed his conversations with him from like
Yeah.
2014 and then 2015 or 16 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was great. He was like fucking 80 something when he had those interviews and
Right.
stuff with him. But did you listen to those episodes
I
or no?
didn't. I saw him and I marked him, but I didn't get a chance to this week. Nope.
Yeah, you know what? And I was always a fan of Bob Newhart. I mean,
Oh, sure.
I didn't remember until some of the things they started talking about. And then they played the clip of him when he was doing his Abe Lincoln thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's really fucking funny. I mean that's
Yeah.
fucking 50 years old or whatever it is, or almost
Mm.
60 years old, whenever it was when
Yeah.
he did it.
Right. That was the
I
early
mean,
'60s, man. Yeah.
oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. So yeah, 60 years old. But it I forgot how just hilarious he was. I mean, just what a he's
Mm-hmm.
fun. He was fun to listen to.
Yeah.
And
It was
even
hilarious.
as an old man, it's just recounting all these things, and Mark had him laughing back and forth. They were good episodes. The replays obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, they were really good episodes. So
Yeah. I got to check him out. Right. And you know who his best friend was, right?
Bob Newhart's?
Yeah.
No.
Don Rickles.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I did know that because they talked. Yeah, that was in the episode. I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they met. He met. I can't remember. You'll hear it when you listen to it.
Right.
But they met randomly,
Yeah.
and then they just
Right.
became friends.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, right. Two very different styles of comedians, but right. Yeah, they and their wives would go on vacation together and shit.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, right.
Well, and he said that the first time Bob said the first time that his wife went to one of Don Rickles' shows,
Mm-hmm.
he because she's like, oh, he's so nice, he's so sweet, and
Uh-huh.
Bob's just kind of like, you've never heard his show before, and sit down and Don and they talk about this story, but he made some comment about the couple and made some comment about the two of them that was completely fucking filthy almost, and,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just Bob Stewart looked over at his wife and he's like, see, told you. She's just basically, I don't want to say horrified, but it was making me laugh. So,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, that was good. I got one more question on that. But when I was listening to that podcast, and I think at the end of it, of course I'm driving, so I didn't stop it right away. And I think one of his new episodes started, and obviously he starts with what the fuckers and what the this and what the that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what he said? He said what the fuck knuckle,
Yeah.
and then he stopped and he says, hey, you know what? I like that, and I'm like, you little fucker, that's ours. Stop it. Yeah,
Stealing from the best.
I know. Yeah, and I'm like, you've been listening, Mark. Have you listened over here, Mark? Have you? Have you? Huh?
All right,
Oh,
Mark, if you're out there, you got to give us some credit, man.
yeah. God damn it.
Send a little traffic our way.
Yeah. Even if we get 100 people that happen to come over this way, come on, Mark, give up a couple.
Right.
Share a couple. That's all you got to do. Share a couple. We love you, Mark. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, my question though that I wrote down: did you ever play the drinking game? Hi, Bob.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if even people out there, younger people even know what it is. I don't know, but so I'll let you go ahead explain the game for anyone who doesn't know
Well,
what it is.
it's funny actually. One of the cable channels, whatever, was showing a bunch of old Bob Newhart shows, the '70s version, over the weekend, and I watched a couple, and it was silently playing "Hi Bob" in my head. I watched one really good episode. They said "Hi Bob" a lot. Anyway, the game was the original Bob Newhart show, the one where he's a psychologist in Chicago. His character's name is Bob. So how you play the game is you watch the TV show, and every time they say Bob, you take a drink, and if they say "Hi Bob," you chug a whole drink. So that's the game. That's you watch the Bob Newhart show, and every time they say Bob, you take a drink, and when they say hi Bob, you slam a whole beer or whatever you're drinking. Yeah, right. And like I said, I watched an episode this weekend, and they said hi Bob like 7 or 8 times in a row, and I was like, yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah, it's one of those, and yeah, I mean it's so fucking simplistic, but even to the point when we used to play that when again, I only went to school, I went to college for 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and we would sit down and whatever night it was on, again, it's during the fucking week at like 7 o'clock or whatever the case was, so what we would do is and we were all underage, but I had a fake ID and a couple other guys did. So we'd go down to the obviously store and then make sure we had enough beer. But all we would start the game with each one of us would have at least a 12 pack in front of us,
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing, yeah. It's every time Bob take a drink and then slam, hi Bob, slam the rest of what you got and start over. So the one night we wanted to play, and there was I know there was me and my roommate, and at least two other guys, and we had no beer, and I forget whatever the deal was. We're like, we're not going down, whatever the case was. Somebody had a bottle of vodka.
Mm.
So we played Hi Bob with vodka and
Mm-hmm.
cherry Kool-Aid. Okay.
Nice.
And that was one of the nights that I made the puke chart because and it was again one of those nights when, and of course, the night we're fucking playing with vodka, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just like hi Bob, hi Bob, hi Bob, hey, hi Bob. You're like fuck me, but yeah, that game was just I thought about that when I was listening to it. I hadn't thought about that game in years. Again,
Mm-hmm.
very immature, simplistic drinking game, but fucking easy. And it was a lot of fun. You sit there, play with a bunch of
Right.
people, and yeah, you just sat around, watched a fucking TV show, and got hammered.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost impossible. I think that I can't remember what channel it was. Not that it matters, but they used to run like I don't know marathons of it. So it'd be
Mm.
3-4 episodes in a row, and there was a couple of times. Maybe that was the night that we played with the vodka, but yeah, it's you sit there and watch even one or two of those episodes and get yourself just fucking
You
toasted. So
catch yourself a buzz.
yeah, get yourself a big old buzz, a big old buzz.
Yep.
All right. One more thing. Okay.
All right.
So I listen to Tune In to listen to that morning show all the time because
Right.
again, we're on Tune In also, by the way, aren't we, Mike?
Sure.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Okay.
So, but I listen to the morning show through TuneIn, and again, regardless of where I'm at, they play ads, and sometimes they're local, blah blah blah. But there was an ad on there for, and I never heard this one before, but it just came up the other day for California psychics. Okay,
Ah.
and I'm like, okay, fucking weird to begin with, but their tagline, they said, come get a reading, blah blah blah, do
Mm-hmm.
this, do that, go online to their website, and then they're like, if it's not life changing, your reading is free.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, so define life changing.
Right.
I mean, everyone. I mean, what the fuck, man? I was just like, it made me laugh, and I'm like, how do you even qualify that? And then I can't even imagine because again, this is fucking online.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about trying to go like, nope, that wasn't life changing. I'm sure there's no easy way to get your fucking money back,
Oh, of
but
course not. Well, they see you coming, so
yeah,
they're
right.
psychics.
Yeah, we've changed your life because you chose to get a psychic reading.
Right, sucker.
Yeah. Hey, okay, so same thing with Mike and I with what we're doing here. If this isn't life changing, this podcast is
Right.
absolutely free. There.
Yes, it is. There you go.
All right. So, little side note on that: did you ever, anytime in your life, go to a psychic or get a reading? Or
God, no.
okay, you lived in California. You were fucking druggy and all that stuff, and hanging out with different people.
I
Who
wasn't
knows?
retarded.
I don't know, possibly on a whim. I never did either, but I just didn't know. Because
No.
you've lived more of a life doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't put anything past what you did. I wouldn't have made fun of you for it either. I wanted to
Right.
hear about it. That's all. But so no.
Well, all right. Well, actually, when I was really, really little, There was God, my insane mother. I don't know. There's I come from a Polish family, and my mother's maiden name was Konwinski. Yeah, and there was some old Polak lady somehow involved with the family who was quote unquote psychic. And I remember my mom going and getting readings from her. So technically I was in the room. I mean, seriously little, like maybe 4 and 5,
Right.
somewhere in there. Um, yeah, and I think she directed some of that bullshit my way at one point, telling me or whatever. Okay, lady, fine, good. I'm a little kid. And I still thought it was bullshit. Um, so yes, all right. To all honesty, yes. Apparently, I have been to a psychic at one point in my life.
So I never did, but when Kimmy's mom and I were together, and I don't remember, we went down to Chicago for something. I don't remember why we went down there, but we went with another couple that lived downstairs from us in the apartment complex, that we got to be
Mm-hmm.
good friends with. And I remember we went down to Chicago. We stayed overnight someplace. Again, I have no idea why we went down there, but we were driving out, and it was the guy from the other couple that was driving, and again, some sign like psychic readings, and he's like, oh, let's
Mm-hmm.
stop. And his wife is like, yeah. And I, Pam, my ex or my wife at the
Mm-hmm.
time, she's like, yeah, I'm up. And I'm like, fuck no. So we go in there. I didn't go in. I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm not gonna. I have no desire to hear or go through any of this stuff. They went in, and I don't remember if they even shared with me what they heard or whatever it was. But I'd say that's the closest I ever got to it. But I had no desire to sit down with somebody. There's probably two reasons for it. One, because again, bullshit. But the other thing too is if there was any shred of what might, I don't need to know what's. I guess maybe what we were talking about before. I don't need to have any.
Right.
I don't need to have any. I seriously, I don't want to have a glimpse into the future. I'm like, fuck it. I want to live my. And I've always been that way before I even got sober. Like
Right.
Ouija boards used to fucking freak me out.
Mm.
Every once in a while they were fun until somebody tried to ask certain questions. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to know this shit. Because you hear all
Mm-hmm.
these stories about when am I going to die or how am I going to die or whatever. Like, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
fucking know that. No.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just funny. But so anyhow, so yeah, you got closer to a psychic than I did. But
Right.
hey, if anyone else out there has had a psychic reading, email us. Yeah, no, we don't want to hear it. Well, you know what?
No.
Now I was going to say maybe it'd be a funny story, but that'd probably be
No. It's all made up. It's all bullshit.
right. Yeah, don't waste your internet ink on that bullshit, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
All right. So, what do you think? I mean, it's middle of the week, end of the week,
Yeah.
whatever
Mm-hmm.
time it is. It's late. So, you know what?
Uh-huh.
You think we're done? You think?
Well, I don't know. Let me consult my crystal ball.
Your crystal balls.
That's right. Hang
Ah,
on. Let
nice.
me shine them up.
All right, man. Then it's your turn, I guess. You and your balls can rush us
Wait.
on out of here.
Let me. I'm getting a message from somewhere. Hold on. Wait. Oh, it's coming through. It's getting clear. It's that time, people. It's that time. No, thank you for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't bullshit anybody, all right? Now it is that time. That message is coming through clear. It is that time. It is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
Yeah, you don't need a psychic to tell you that shit, do you?
That's right.
All right, one last thing, but we can talk about it next week also. So
Hmm.
you and Chris had your Tinder anniversary
No, we did.
this week, right?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but
We did.
when's your real anniversary, or is that what you consider your actual anniversary date?
We celebrate the anniversary of our first date, which will be the 6th of August, but we're going away the weekend before this year.
Okay. Yeah. So then
Yep.
next weekend. Next
Yeah.
weekend, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so maybe we can talk about that since you're going out of town anyhow. But
Yeah.
I'd like you to tell your Tinder story again, but that'll be a tease for next week. So on that
You'll
note,
have
you
to
know what?
tune in.
Yeah.
The psychic says, moo.
It's like, what the fuck? The psychic says moo.
Yes. Because bullshit.
Right. Okay. No, I'll stick with that one. That's cool. I like it.
Uh-huh.
All right. I love you, brother.
I love you too.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.